I'm Steve Brown, Senior Staff Writer for The Leading Edge. I'm here in New Orleans this week for the SEG annual meeting, and I'm sitting here today with one of the technology leaders in our industry, Dr. Matt Lamont, founder of DownUnder GeoSolutions. Thanks for dropping by to talk to us today, Matt.
It's a pleasure.
Matt, when you incorporated DownUnder GeoSolutions in 2003, was there a particular hole in the marketplace that you felt needed to be filled?
So I'd spent the previous 4 years in Houston, and I saw these fantastic small geophysical companies in the Houston space working out really well. And then I shifted back to Perth, and I saw a very different landscape there where there wasn't any of the small geophysical players, and I could see no reason why one wouldn't work in Perth. And so in a way, I was emulating some of the fantastic companies in the late 90s and 2000s that were in Houston.
Matt, as you're here this week at the SEG annual meetings and you're listening to presentations and walking the exhibit hall, what are some of the technology trends that you're seeing here this week that are getting you excited about the future?
I think the biggest thing that we've seen is we're just starting to see there's several individual technologies such as FWI that have become really important and stormed onto into the arena, and we also have seen broadband data for several years now. And I think the really exciting thing that I think the industry is just starting to realise is that these two technologies, when they're brought together, mean that we no longer have a frequency notch for our absolute inversions. We get accurate velocity data up to 8 or 15 hertz, whatever you like, with FWI, and we get much lower frequencies coming in from the seismic down to perhaps 3 or 4 hertz. So now that traditional notch where we had to build these sophisticated models and where all the uncertainty came from in our inversion work has gone away. And that's going to play out very significantly in the coming years, I think.
One other technology that you should be well familiar with is supercomputing. DownUnder GeoSolutions has two massive supercomputers, as I understand. One named Bruce in your Perth, Australia office, and another named Bubba, which will come online in the new office space you're going to be moving into in Houston. I wonder if you could tell us just a little bit about those two computers, Bruce and Bubba, and the role that supercomputing plays in the geophysics industry.
So it's fun. I enjoy these big computers. We've always enjoyed having big computers, and it's a vital part. Traditionally, perhaps half the cost of a company like ours would go on people, and half the cost would be on computing. So getting computing cheaper is very important for the health of the company. It's also there's been technology. Professor Claerbout, came out with a lot of stuff in the 70s, which we're only now able to apply, just because of the compute that's not been available. So, geophysicists have been hankering after big compute to run a lot of technology that's been developed for decades now. So they're very important, and we've been very fortunate to get a technology partnership with Intel on some of their new co-processing equipment. So it's working out really well. So that, we're putting in these really large machines, and we've worked very hard to get our total cost of ownership down to enable us as a small company to put in these machines. So Bruce in Perth is 5.5 petaflops, which is over 5 times the size of the next biggest computer in the Southern Hemisphere, which is also in Perth. And Bubba in Houston will be about the same size, but the facility, the new office facility, has computer room space, power and cooling for up to a 20 petaflop machine. So we're planning big things in Houston.
Yeah, the cooling technology is a little unique as well for these, particularly the one in Houston, right? It's an oil-cooled machine, is that right?
Bruce is oil-cooled. Well, Bruce is half and half because he he's came along over time, and the back half of it is all oil cooled as well. and Bubba will be oil cooled as well. And we're actually just developing some really neat extensions to that technology as well. And of course, the key to oil, there's two keys to the oil cooling. The first is that it saves you 45% of your power bill because you no longer need to have refrigerated air conditioning. And the second is it's very robust. If you just stop the airflow to a working computer, it'll spike temperature and shut itself off in 5-10 seconds. You can stop the power to the cooling in oil, and you've got 5 or 10 minutes. So it means that everything's a lot more stable.
Matt, the elephant in the room right now is that we're experiencing a fairly significant downturn in the oil and gas markets right now. What are some ways that technology can help companies weather this downturn?
In our case, our total cost of ownership of computing is very low, much lower than our competitors, all bar one or two. And therefore we have been able to weather the storm by including more compute in our jobs, in our proposals and tender responses, as opposed to dropping the price low. So we can win, we can compete very heavily based on cheaper compute, but we can also do things that otherwise you wouldn't be able to do, and our competitors are not able to do. So in terms of us being competitive, there's still work out there. You've just got to, get your share. And the other thing that's happened is that tenders are much more awarded in the last 12 months based purely on price. In the past, they would be based on relationships and trustworthiness and stuff, which is things that take time to build up as a new player in a market. Whereas now it's just it's price. It's price. It's bang for buck, if you like. It's price for what you deliver. Yeah.
Matt, thank you for joining us here today. Glad you were able to come by and give us a few words. Thank you.
Thank you very much. It's a pleasure.